Welcome back, everyone. We are back once again, and we are finally going to be discussing, yes, you see on your screens, The Flash, the movie that has had probably the worst of luck in the entire DC of movies. Now, I wanted to go ahead and just have my take on this film. Whether you got, first off, again, like I always say, in a controversial movie or people behind the movie, whether or not you enjoyed this, like, whether you like this movie or not, that's perfectly fine. Again, you cannot deny, though, that this movie was a flop. You can't. Did we have some cool cameos? Yes, we did. The entirety of this film is basically wrapped around the fact of the classic story of Barry trying to save his mom from being killed. Did not say how she was killed, other than she was stabbed. We don't know if the Reverse Flash is ahead of this, because, again, I'm not very familiar with Flash. As far as I know, it was because of the Flash or a burglar that she died anyway, and that his father was framed, was in jail, and he's been trying to deal with the fractions of, you know, being the Flash and not being able to stop this. Now, overall, I will say I did enjoy this movie. There were things about this I liked. There were things about this I disliked. Now, again, for anyone that has not seen the movie, okay, if you have seen the movie, let me know what your thoughts are about it. But we're going to go ahead and get right into it. Now, again, there was a lot of spoilers in this. The beginning of the movie, we see Batman Ben Affleck asking Barry for help due to everyone at Justice League's busy, and he helps him with a robbery, as well as also trying to save people. And then Diana shows up, so we got to see Wonder Woman here, aka Gal Gadot, and she came in here. And then after that, Barry was trying to figure out a way still for his father, and he even talks to Ben Affleck Batman about it. He's like, hey, I can go back and save your parents, and he says no, because if we did, then we wouldn't be who we are. So after that, and then coming in contact with Iris, he, you know, what she says, and it kind of rubs him the wrong way, and then finally trying to figure out exactly what he can do to possibly save his mom, which is basically buying a can of tomatoes. That way his dad does not have to go to the store and then not have an alibi and then show up to where he can actually be with his parents. And it does work. It messes up with the fabric of time. Something stops him, knocks him out. Then he goes to his life of 18 years old, where he's not the same anymore. He starts realizing everything is different. There is no one left in the Justice League. There is no Aquaman. We got a cameo appearance by Tamir Morrison. There was no Superman until Supergirl, where basically we find out later on in the film that Kal-El was tracked down by Zod and he was killed. And then also at the same time, again, Wonder Woman, nothing. Cyborg, you know, before he became Cyborg, still became a massive football player. So there really was not a lot of ones in the Justice League left, other than Batman, which again was Michael Keaton, to where apparently it was the safest city in the world of Gotham. So don't know exactly what he did to get the city as safe as he had it, but it kind of makes me wonder if he killed anyone, because it wasn't really shown that it was. But I'm gonna say this: Michael Keaton, it was a pleasure to see him on screen. It was a pleasure to see him on screen, but was it enough to save the movie? No, it felt like it was more of the Batman movie in some ways than it was the Flash movie. And I'm not going to talk about the Ezra Miller stuff right now. I'm going to get to that a little later on in the video. I think that, honestly, Michael Keaton finally, being like in an early retirement, sees both Barrys, and then finally decides to help him track down Superman, going to Russia. We see a badass scene with him trying to fight against Russians, and then soon realizing it is not Kal-El, it is you know, Kara Zor-El, and soon realizing that she may not want anything to do with humans. And we see her leave off, and then she realizes that it's because of Zod, of what's happening on this planet. And then what we also see is Barry doing the classic of trying to get his powers back, because when he tries to get his younger self powers, it messes with his current self to where he does not have powers. Then when this occurs, he's trying to teach his younger self on how to use the powers correctly. And I will say younger Barry was kind of funny, but at the same time also annoying. Same thing with current Barry. I think that there were certain moments in this film where it was funny, but it was also cringe to where some of the jokes fell. Some of the jokes did pass off, but at the same time, I will say that it was enjoyable to a certain degree. Then at the same time, we got to see Flash actually regain his powers, and then between both Flashes, the younger Barry getting a suit, and then Supergirl coming back after her, helping Barry like he helped her, and then also Michael Keaton's Batman actually fighting with them to save the world against Zod. We see where no matter what they do to fight against Zod, it just doesn't work. No matter what they do, there's like twice in the movie Batman dies, one as a plane crash, another one gets one of Zod's forces, which again, I feel like that they had Batman go out too quickly. Again, it's Michael Keaton freaking Batman. You really think he's going to go out that quick? It just felt kind of like a bullshit play out in a way. And then also at the same time, Supergirl just getting decimated as quickly as she was. Because again, supposedly, whether you're being the comics or the shows, that supposedly she is more powerful than Kal-El, aka Superman. Which again, that's debatable. And at the same time, the younger Barry, he keeps trying to stop this from happening, going back in time. And he keeps getting destroyed every time you turn around. And then current Barry finally comes to the point where he finally realizes that it's because of him that all this is happening. He has to go back and stop himself from doing what he did to save his mom. And when he finally realizes that the younger Barry has pretty much became the Black Flash, to where he's very decrepit, he's very messed up, and we see where he's become his own worst enemy, obviously. Then we see where they have this quick little fight, and then Barry goes back in time to have a moment with his mother and stop his mom from being not murdered. But he does do something else that does change the future. He does to where he moves the can of tomatoes on top of the shelf. That way his dad can see his face, and his dad can actually have an alibi and get out of jail, which it still changes the entire space-time continuum, to where all the multiverses were crashing, and now supposedly they're going to be fine. But at the same time, he's talking to Bruce Wayne at the very end of it, and it's not Ben Affleck Bruce Wayne, it is George Clooney Bruce Wayne. And he even looks at him like, wait a minute, you're not Batman. So again, that's how the movie ends. There was also a cameo appearance for Nicolas Cage as Superman, which was cool. Again, there was some cool things in here, but again, why exactly did the movie flop? I have a lot of theories on this, so guys, agree or disagree. The main reason is because of the things that Ezra Miller did. Ezra Miller going from the person to the actor, I would say somewhat decent. To the person, a disgusting human being. And that needs to be in jail for all the things he did. And again, look at what happened to Johnny Depp. He was accused before he was proclaimed innocent. And then look at all the things Ezra Miller did, and there's proof, and they won't incarcerate him. And then also with all the setbacks, all the reshoots, and then the resetting of the DC multiverse, it's like it felt like all this time it didn't matter. It feels like seeing this movie does not matter, and it's not as emotional as I would say if you watch the CW Flash. Again, that may be a bad comparison to some people, but honestly, I think Grant would have been a hell of a lot better choice for this than Ezra Miller. I think Grant Gustin would have been a hell of a better choice. Better actor. He was able to pull off the Flash character marvelously, even though it was bullshit with some of the writing. And I do firmly believe he would have been able to do better with the writing if they would have gave him a chance, and also with the performance better than what Ezra Miller did as well. Especially the scene with his mom and the Speed Force and just everything in general. Now, obviously, there was some issues with Iris West. Iris, again, I have my issues with Iris with who they keep trying to get as an actress. To play the character, and again, they keep messing up because they keep changing, her ethnic or where she's from, and it just gets old after a while, and I'm just tired of fighting it and having my opinion on it. Again, I have nothing against the actresses themselves. I don't. It's more along the lines of the issues with the writing of them always trying to change something and trying to make it current to where it's not going to make sense. To where, why would you have this actress in this role to where she doesn't look like the character, or does not act like the character, and just doesn't feel like that character? Again, that's plain and simple. Seeing George Clooney, again, didn't really feel like it was that important. Michael Keaton, again, yes, he was a big importance to this film, but was he big enough to save it? No, unfortunately. Ben Affleck, same deal. He was just in there, I think, just for current times. Michael Keaton, as well as also George Clooney, they were there just to pretty much for older fans, from the old '89 Batman to the Batman and Robin movie, and whether you like those movies or dislike those movies, they're there. But now at this point, we're going to have a different multiverse, and where exactly we're going to go with James Gunn multiverse is kind of feels like it's a little eluded at this point. We don't know exactly where we're going, and I feel like no matter which way we go for the DC, it's just going to be a shit show, and we're not exactly sure where we're going. And I feel like from the animated movies, they were doing well, and it feels like they've been taken off of a cliff. And the movies are just getting worse and worse and worse. And it makes me wonder, where exactly is it going to stop? Are we going to have leadership in James Gunn? Is he going to do what he says he's going to do? Are we going to have faith in him? Again, between this movie, the Suicide Squad movies, between the Justice League movies, the Man of Steel movie, Aquaman 1 and 2, Wonder Woman 1984, it feels like those movies did not freaking matter because of everything that had been building up. They took their time. There was a lot of issues with cast members. There was issues with writers. There was issues with the productions. There was issues with the directors. Everything just seemed to be a big shit show, and I think that's the main reason why people have kind of copped out of this. And I think Ezra Miller was the icing on the cake from everything he did, and then all the other issues back to back to back. So that's why I think it flopped. This was my review on it. Again, would I watch this movie again? That it's debatable. I may, I may not. There are certain scenes I would not mind watching again, but there's also most of it, what I'd like to see again, is more Batman than the Flash. And again, I do like the Flash. What got me into the Flash, honestly, was the Justice League animated TV show, and then obviously watching CW Flash when it first began. That's what really made me more of a Flash fan. But let me know what you guys think about this down in the comments down below of the Flash movie. What is your overall reviews on it? What is your take on it? Is it a good movie? Is it a bad movie? What is your overall thoughts about it? Let me know down in the comments down below if you guys are on the channel. Also about subscribing, leave a big like on the video if you guys enjoyed. And as always, I'll see you guys on the very next one.